Chaque semaine dans le Screen Parfait, nous vous racontons les petits secrets de fabrication du cinéma et des séries. Cette fois, nous sommes allés à la rencontre de l'équipe des nouveaux héros, la dernière pépite Disney inspirée du catalogue Marvel. Don Hall et Roy Conli nous rappellent qu'un bon film d'animation, c'est une belle histoire, de l'action, mais aussi et surtout de l'émotion.
I think people are always a little surprised when they walk out of the film because I think they're going in thinking, okay, we're going to see an action here, and then they find themselves sucked into this amazing heart and story.
Don Hall et Roy Conli sont des passionnés habités par le rêve et la magie Disney depuis toujours. Le premier est scénariste et animateur chez Disney depuis 20 ans et est devenu réalisateur en 2011. Le second est producteur depuis 1996, son job est de mettre tout en ordre pour que la vision de Don Hall et les autres réalisateurs maison deviennent réalité, quitte à inventer de nouveaux outils et explorer les dernières avancées technologiques pour y parvenir. En 2009, Disney rachetait le catalogue Marvel pour 4 milliards de dollars et cette année, ces deux univers ultra riches sont réunis dans les nouveaux héros, adaptés du comics Big Hero 6 datant de 1999. Après le très émouvant Wall-E, c'est l'occasion pour Disney de mettre à nouveau en scène un robot, Baymax, que Don Hall a voulu à la fois étonnant, rassurant et unique.
At the very beginning of the project, you know, I was a little worried about the robot. And because I knew I had a strong desire, as did John Lasseter, that we do something different and unique. And there's just so many robots in movies, you know, from Transformers to Star Wars. So I really wanted to do something unique. And so I did my research, and I went to MIT, Harvard, Carnegie Mellon, even Tokyo University. And I was just trying to get inspired by real robotic technology, thinking something will inspire me and to create a unique robot.
Ouais.
And it was at Carnegie Mellon University. I met a guy named Chris Atkinson who was doing research in soft robotics, which is a really bleeding edge field, really new field of robotics, where essentially they'll be making robots out of vinyl that are going to be inflated, and they'll be used in the healthcare industry. It was like lightning struck me. You know, once I found that technology, I knew that could be our Baymax, and it was unique. I'd never seen it before, so I felt like audiences, it'd be fresh to audiences. But it also gave us this opportunity to create this wonderful character.
Bonjour, je suis Baymax, votre assistant de santé personnel.
His function in this story was to be a healer for our main character who suffers a loss. So what a perfect articulation of this idea for him to be a healthcare robot.
Je me suis seulement cogné l'orteil. Je vais bien.
Sur une échelle de 1 à 10, quel est votre degré de souffrance?
0. Je me suis pas fait mal. Merci. Miniaturise-toi.
Est-ce sensible au toucher?
Non, laisse tomber. Défense de toucher. Non, ça...
We took those ideas and we brought them back to the studio, and we have this amazing design team, Shi-Yoon Kim and Jin Kim, who are our two character designers. And they mix that up with a little bit of manga and a little bit of anime.
Yeah.
So I think it gives the film, you know, there's definitely a nod to Miyazaki in this film. We're all geeks for his films and for Japanese pop culture.
Je vais à présent vous scanner.
Non, me scanne pas.
Scan terminé.
C'est pas croyable.
Vous n'avez aucune blessure corporelle. Néanmoins, votre taux d'hormones et de neurotransmission indique que vous êtes sujet à des sautes d'humeur fréquentes durant l'adolescence. Diagnostic, puberté.
I loved Disney animation as a kid, obviously, that's why I work at Disney. But I also love Marvel Comics, and so I got very excited by the idea of mashing those two loves together.
It's interesting because I really believe that Marvel and Disney actually have a lot of similarities in the way they tell stories, you know.
And fans.
Yeah, and fans for that matter. I love Marvel films, you know. I think Iron Man is probably my favorite because I love Tony Stark, but that they create great characters, they create a sense of heart, and they create a world that you want to be in. And that's exactly what we do.
And they're generally funny. You know, they
always
make sure they get humor in there. And that's something that can be traced back to the original Marvel, the Big Bang of the Marvel Universe, which was the comics in the 60s, written by Stan Lee and drawn by Jack Kirby.
fortunately, we partnered with Marvel in the sense that Joe Quesada, their chief creative officer, and Jeff Loeb, who is an amazing writer of comic books and also now runs their television division in Los Angeles, they became part of our story trust. We put these films up every 12 weeks, essentially, every 3 months. We put the film up with static pictures and a soundtrack. And that really is our time where we sit and break down and talk about theme, talk about plot, talk about character. And Joe and Jeff were part of that process. There's a lot of things we created for this film. Probably the top, city construction was a big thing, making San Francisco. We were working on building an extremely lightweight model that we had complete control of from a camera standpoint. And that city of San Francisco has like 83,000 buildings, and it has over 250,000 trees and 215,000 street lights, and it's a huge, huge model. But literally, you can put the camera anywhere in that model. The other thing that was really huge is we developed an entirely new rendering system for this film, which I think gives it the amazing look that it has. Hyperion, which is the rendering system, actually mimics light like no other rendering system we've used. You can dial in the amount of bounces in the light, so it really makes Baymax look amazing because you actually have light bouncing inside him, and you get that amazing translucence, and then you also get the skies of San Francisco that we wanted to use for San Francisco.
C'est comme faire un câlin à un marshmallow bien chaud.
We always consult, specialists. So, for instance, like the car chase, we watched a lot of GoPro videos of stunt drivers, driving around cities using a GoPro. But we also brought one of them in and had him consult on the scene.
C'est pas génial? Ça fiche la trouille, évidemment, mais c'est trop nul!
And making sure that we were actually correct in how GoGo was operating the car and all that kind of stuff. And so, but then we also had some amazing specialists with flight cameras come in and help guide us through the flight sequences.
We also, consulting on the film was Bob Richardson.
Bob Richardson, c'est un des chefs opérateurs les plus talentueux d'Hollywood, scénarisé pour JFK et Aviator.
In trying to get Don's vision on the screen of that kind of live-action world, Bob was very helpful in terms of helping us in terms of pushing our cinematographic approach.
Comme La Reine des Neiges l'an dernier, les studios Disney sont nommés aux Oscars dans la catégorie meilleur film d'animation avec ses nouveaux héros, verdict le 22 février.